So I'm going to include the variance here. VAR
Okay.
variance is np.var. So the truth is that there are a lot of functions that I've not mentioned about under the NumPy libraries. Like you can perform mathematical operations like sine. I told you about that. Like once you have angles like this, 30, 60, 90. So then you can perform mathematical operations like dot sine. Hmm? I think there's also sine of degrees, sine. Let me see again. Dot sine. Okay, sine angle. This is for sine angle. Angles. So let's see if this gives us. No, it's not sine angle. That's not sine angle. So let's try to use angles. So you can perform something like this. Then if you want to use convert it, there's also np.pi that is going to give us the pi. So like our formula has always been to convert it in form of treat it like that is not in form of radian.
Multiply by something.
Yes. Okay, let's see something. Angles. Okay. So this should be in array. This should be in array, np.array. So because it is in list, so that's why it's not working.
No.
So this is what I mean. So you can perform something like this. So which is times pi over 180. So these are the sine angles. So let's make a practical example. Let's say that for our previous assignment that we did the previous times, like we want to plot the sine and cos graph. So I want to combine matplotlib and numpy library. Let's say we have numpy, we already have numpy. Let's say import matplotlib, import matplotlib dot matplotlib dot pyplots as plt. So then if I have angles like this, np dot arrays, and there's this np dot arrange. I think np dot arrange something like this. np dot arrange. See this np dot arrange. So we have start, stop, and step. So let's see that we have zero. It allows you to create series of arrays, just specifying the start, stop, and let's say that we want to do it to 360. Then it's going to give you in form of numpy array, and you want a step size of 5, something like this. So this is what arrange means. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So you just have to specify, like, this is another np function. There are a lot of them that I might not mention. So we
Oh,
have np.arrange. So it's just have to create series uh, of numpy array with series of array with several items. So then you specify the start, specify the stop, then you specify the
step.
step. So which is what we did here. So with this np.arrange, you create an array of angles. So you can see that this is another way of creating array. So let's say angles. Then you want to find the sine of all angles, sine angles. So you just np dot sine angles multiplied by np dot pi over 180. So we'll do that for cos. So you can see that for if at all you want to use this now, you need to look. So but for this is once you are using numpy, you have just few lines of code to write because there's no need to look.
Oh,
So then I can then plot this plt dot plot angles, comma, sine angles. So you have something like this. So I can try to create that for cos angles also. Cos. So you have something like this. Then I can set the figure to be much more bigger.
We can also use plt.show.
Yes, I haven't used PS the show. So what other styling I can still use? Can still remember what other styling?
We can try to label like
Well,
sine angles and
that is what.
come we say X label, maybe sine angle.
No, it is angles.
Okay, angle.
S labels is angles. So why you can just leave S label. Let's just put labels here. Label to be equal to sine and label to be equal to cosine. Then plt dot legend is going to show everything. So then you can also use the plt dot grid and set it to be 2. So you have something like this.
Okay. But since we always have a x-axis and y-axis, so can we also bring out apart from x label, can we use another y label also? Is it okay here?
Yeah, you can use y label, but it depends on what you want to use your y label for. Do you
No,
understand
I
that?
mean for this example.
Yes, for this example, you can use y label, like plt dot y label. But in this particular case, there are two things. So you have to specify that your y label is not only for sine. You can see the sine of x and cos of or angles. Sine of
Okay.
angle, because it's two things that is there. It's not just
Wow.
one thing. So you have something
Okay.
like this. Then we can then proceed and let's make another example using NumPy that we've done earlier. So let's, for example, you want to calculate if you have student score like this, student score. Okay, let me say the first CA of a student is maybe 1, 2, 3. First CA, let me just create random numbers between 0 to 10, 5, 8, 9, 2, 1, 3, 1. So let me say we have just these 6 items. And second CA, second continuous assessment, let's say 4, 6, 8, 9, 1, 0, 10.
Sir, can we also generate figures, random figures with the initial formula you told us from
Yes, yes,
for
yes,
calculating CA?
yes, yes. For like this, you can, instead of stressing myself, I can just say np dot random. I know that eh, under this random functions, under np dot random, there are a lot of np dot random. When we talk about random numbers, so you just have to start from np dot random. So it now depends on the kind of random number that you want to get. Like np, you have the np dot random dot rand, which is going to give you a random number between 0 and 1. An example is this np dot random dot rand. So let's say 5 comma 5. So it's going to give you a random number between 0 and 1 of 5 comma 5 size. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So then you also have the np dot random dot rand n. I think yes, we have rand n. So it's going to give you random number between -1 and 2, something like that. I think -1 and 1, or -1, -2 and 1. So something like
Okay.
this. Okay, I think it's with -2 and 2. Between -2 and 2. So something like this. So then we also have np dot random dot uniform. So this is going to create a uniform distributions. I think so. Uniform distributions like this. np dot random dot uniform. So you have uniform distributions. So you can look at this. So in uniform distribution, you just have to specify the lower and upper range. Maybe 0 to 10, like what you want to do. 100.
Okay.
So like let's say 10. So we have a distribution of 0 to 10 and 10 size.
Okay.
So which is something like this.
Please, I have a question. Because having decimal points of a lot, is there a way that we can limit the decimal points or not?
Make it an whole number. Eh?
Maybe odd number, or maybe only to one decimal point, maybe 2.1 or
Oh, sure,
2.12.
sure, sure. So you also have the normal distribution also. I think normal distribution, you have to provide the standard deviation and the mean. Just normal distribution. So like this, and like what you mentioned, you can try to say, I think np dot int or np dot round. Np also provide an option for you to round the functions to whole numbers. So you can round everything up to whole numbers. So like this now, we are going to create a random number like that. Dot uniform. So we create a random number between 0 and 10. Then we want it to be just 10 numbers between 0 and no. Okay, let's say that how many, let's just say the class of 6 students, 6. Then you can just create an int, I mean np dot round, np dot round, to create random whole numbers. So you can do the same for this also for second CA. So for this now, exam score, let's create a random number also, but now it's between 0, let's say between 10 and 60. Between 10 and 60, then you can then see that total is equal to, so instead of looping, if you are using this, you have to loop, but now you just have to use our formula 2 times C1 plus C2 plus exam. So it's going to calculate for individual item. Then you can then print total. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So anytime we run this, we are going to get different numbers because we are using random numbers.
Okay.
Do you understand that? Then I told you that there is what we call pseudo random number generator. You can pseudo it np.random.seed. So this seed is going to get a random number, but anytime you run it, you are going to get the same random number. So I can seed it to be 0. So anytime I run this, I'm going to get the same random number.
Okay. Okay.
So that is what I was explaining about np.seed. So you can try to read more about pseudo random number generator. It's using some kinds of formulas to get the same random number. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So it's for pseudo random number generation. So it's going to seed, but if you are seeding with another, starting from another seed, you are going to get different random number. Do you understand that? So most times I do advise that you seed. So you seed, for example, if I give a particular task now, then you want us to get the same value, then you are using several kinds of random number, uniform distribution, or normal distributions. Then you have to seed it for me to be getting the same thing that you are getting there.
Okay.
So you just tell me that you've seeded with maybe 4 or 5. If you have, maybe for example, I give you an assignment now, you are send this particular code to me. I will never get the same thing that you got. So I have to seed it. You have to use the same seed for us to get the same thing. Do you understand that? So looking at these numbers now, if I thought we have students like this, let's say that students names like this. So if you have student names like this, it's in form of a list. Let's say Tokwe, let's say Titi, let's say Tayo, let's say Toyo, then let's say TJ. So is that 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hmm? So if you have something like this, so how can we print the students that have the highest score? Hmm? How can we print the students that have the highest score? You just want to print the students that have the highest score. So you can easily do that, like say print np dot, you first calculate the index idx equal to np dot ag max, that is a maximum score total. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Then can I say that print students with the highest score is equal to students on underscore names, then you put the particular index that you've calculated, underscore names, then idx. So it's going to give you the student with the highest score. Do you understand that?
So it generates it by itself?
Generate what? This particular total is being generated randomly, but depending on the highest score of this total, it's going to calculate the index. This argmax is to calculate the index, that which position. Do you understand that? I can try to print total.
Okay.
Then print total for us to see the total. So it should be total like this. So you have something like this. So students with the highest score is what? So which one is the highest score? 64, which is Tayo. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So you see that I use this argmax, the index of the maximum, to calculate it, to slot in into this particular student's name to get the particular student. Do you get that?
Yes.
So we are going to stop here for today. So your assignment to be for this, you extend this particular, because I want you to do it before tomorrow. Do you understand that? So it's just a simple assignment. So extend this particular code. You extend this particular code. Then you calculate the grade for all the students using a particular grading system in such a way like this. You understand? You calculate the grade for each of the students. You print the grade. So you use a grading system for this. If like 0 to 39 should be F. So 40 to 49 should be E. Okay. So 50 to 59 should be D. Then we have 60 to 69 to be C. Then 70 to 79 to be B. Then 100, 80 to 100, it should be A. So you cannot get any value that's more than 100. So you have to use this particular grading system. then calculate grade for each of the students, giving their student score. So you just have to use your if. So is that okay?
Any hint?
Okay, int. So use your if conditions. So you can, like this particular, it depends on your own approach. You can use several approach. Like you can try to maybe create a, okay, do it like this. I want you to do it like this. Use a function. Create a function. Maybe you know how to create a function now. Maybe def. So the function is going to get, is going to accept the student score, which is the maximum score.
Okay.
Then it's going to return the grade. Do you understand that? It's going to return the grade. And this is how the function will look like. Def, let's say get grade. So name it as get grade. So it's going to accept score. So it's going to return the grade. So you can see that you can try to create several conditions here. So I don't want your code to be messy. That's why I say that just do that. So you can just say this score is equal to, is greater than maybe 70, is greater than or equal to 80, then grade is equal to A, something like this. So once I call this particular function, get grade of maybe 88. So I have A. Did you get that? So that is, so like this particular condition. Now you now extend this condition to suit all these particular conditions. I've told you.
That means we are going to use a lot of elif.
Elifs, yes, use elifs.
Okay.
So extend it to suit all those conditions.
Okay.
So do you get that? So use elifs. So that for every item that is any score, you are going to get the grade. So after getting the grade in this particular code, so you can use a loop. You might need to use a loop here, maybe for each of these student score, which is total, then slot in the grade. Get grade of student score, so. Get grade of student score, so. Do you understand that? For example,
Okay.
now, like if I need to get the first total, so it will be total of I, and total 0, that is the first total. So get grade of total 0. So let me try to create an otherwise condition here so that I won't get an empty. So grade equal to B of maybe E. So if I just say that get grade, do you understand that? So I'm getting E. So you can then loop through this total score. Within this total score, for I in the total score, then use all this get grade. Why? Do you understand that?
Okay. Then how do we assign that this student gets this mark?
That is why you have to create an empty
Or
list.
it's not part of the assignment?
It's part of it now. You have to create an empty list, or better say, don't assign, just print within the loop. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Just point within the loop, like.
So are you creating like random scores?
No,
to do it?
you have already I've already done it to this particular point. You have your total score already. So this total score, create a function that we use for all this particular grade. A function that will accept any of this score that is going to return the grade of that student.
Okay.
That is the first part of the assignment. So with this your function that you've calculated, do you understand that? Maybe you've calculated, you've extend this particular function to suit all this grade, A to F. Then for each of this particular total, then print the grade. So for example, now this is the first grade. I've printed this name. Can I say that maybe G is equal to the grade? You understand that? So print, I can say that print students. Okay, I can even try to format my printing very well. I can say that student names 0. I'm trying to use 0 as an example, but you have to look towards the loop. throughout the student names. So I can say student name 0 with the score, comma total. With the score, comma total 0, then has a grade of, comma G. Do you understand that? So it now say that Topper with the score 52 has a grade of A. So within that your loop, you just have to print all this. So I've already finished printing. So you just have to keep
So
on.
we don't need to extend any of this figure that you have generated already.
I don't get that. Don't
I mean,
don't extend anything. Just use the same numbers of items. Just
okay.
the first assignment is for you to create this. Make sure you extend this function to for all these
Okay.
scoring system. Then the next
Okay.
assignment is for you to, for each of these scores, for each of the scoring system, for each of these student names, use this particular function you've created to use get grade of total. If you are maybe for I in range learn student names, then get grade of total student names, something like that.
Okay.
Then you then print this, then print student names of a particular student name with a score of a total of a particular score as a particular grade that you've calculated using this get grade function.
Okay.
So is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
So help us God.